Hi, my name's Rox, and I like to talk about knitting mostly. What I'm going to talk about today is where to place your decreases along an edge, which decrease to choose, and how to remember which one is left leaning and which one is right leaning. I'm also going to tell you how to do those decreases from the purl side of the fabric. Now, the basic guideline when you're choosing which decrease to use is to use the decrease that leans toward the area getting smaller.
In this sweater, I have waist shaping so that the decreases help form the waistline here. What I used were decreases that pointed or leaned in the direction of the area that was getting smaller, which was the center of the sweater. So on this edge here, I would use the SSK decreases. And on this side, I use knit two together.
Okay, so that's which direction the decreases should lean, but what about where to place them? Well, if the edge is going to be seamed or it's going to have stitches picked up like for a neckline, you want to place the decrease at least one stitch in from the edge. So you would work a plain stitch, then do your decrease, work to the last 3 stitches, do your decrease, and then work the last stitch plain. Here's an example.
On this example of a neckline, this is just a swatch that simulates a neckline, the area getting smaller would be the area between the armhole, which would be over here, and the neckline. So I made these decreases 1 stitch in from the edge, and these were SSK decreases. And then I picked up the plain stitch that was on along the selvage, which you can see on the inside here. In this example, I did the decreases 2 stitches in. So I have an extra stitch. I had the selvage stitch, and then I had this plain stitch, and then I did the decreases here. So you can decide, which of those you might like, if either.
Okay, so you understand which direction you want your decreases to lean, and you know exactly where you want to place them, but your problem is you can't remember which one is left leaning and which one is right leaning. Here's how to tell.
The way to remember which way a particular decrease leans is by looking at how the right needle, which is the working needle, enters the 2 stitches as you're working them together. If you do a knit 2 together, you have to enter this way. So the right needle has to point to the right of the stitches. You're kind of crossing them like that. If you're doing an SSK, you slip, and then you insert the left needle. The right needle is pointing to the left. The working needle is pointing to the left, and the decrease is going to lean to the left.
Okay, this is all great, but what happens if you need to make decreases from the purl side?
Okay, so here I have done an SSK on the right side, right edge, and I have done knit 2 together on the left edge, and then I knit 2 more rows, and now I'm going to have to do my decreases on the purl side. So here's how you do that. So here I want the same kind of decrease. I want the same decrease lean here. On this edge I want one that looks like a knit 2 together. And the decrease for that is a purl 2 together. Got my camera set up a little strangely. So I'm going to knit purl the first stitch. And then I'm going to purl 2 together. Then I'm going to purl across. Okay, so to do an SSP, it's similar to an SSK. I slip 2 stitches as if to knit, but now I return them to the left needle, maintaining the stitch mount. So I changed the stitch mount when I slipped them to the right needle, and now I'm maintaining, so the left leg needs to be over the front. Now I'm going to purl through the backs of these stitches. So you need to come from left to right through those stitches, work them together, Okay, so I worked one more row after I did that, but you can see here that the SSP looks like the SSK, and then the purl two together looks like the knit two together when you look at them from the right side. When you look at them from the wrong side, there really isn't a lean. So if you're working with fabric that's reverse stockinette, like if this were to be the right side of the fabric, it doesn't matter what decrease that you use because the heads of the stitches are just on top of each other. You can't see the legs of the stitches from the back. And it's the legs of the stitches that give the appearance that the decrease has a lean to it.
So this week I focused on decreases that lean toward the area getting smaller, but there are reasons why you might want to lean them in the other direction, and next week I'll talk about that. Thanks a lot.